Hey friends, it's Elizabeth Ware again, and welcome back to another episode of my Design by Room series. Today we're headed into what I think is the true heart of any home, the kitchen. Whether you're cooking for your family, hosting a weekend crew at your vacation home, or just making your morning cup of coffee, your kitchen should feel warm, practical, and personal. So in this video, I'm sharing my favorite kitchen design tips to help you create a space that's beautiful, functional, and connected to nature without feeling overly trendy or cluttered. First things first, function. A beautiful kitchen that doesn't work just ends up frustrating everyone. If you're starting from scratch or going for a remodel, think about the kitchen triangle. That's the sink, stove, and refrigerator. They should all be within easy reach of each other, ideally about 4 to 9 feet apart each. And if you can avoid having the triangle in high traffic pathways, that's even better. For counter space, aim for at least 36 inches of uninterrupted counter space near the sink or stove if possible, with at least 12 inches of landing space on either side of appliances to be able to set things down comfortably. If you have a husband who insists on having a gigantic toaster oven on the counter space like me, you might want to go for more. But all jokes aside, it's important to think about the kitchen appliances that you love and use the most. Stand mixers, maybe a cookbook stand, utensil crocks, or a pastry board for baking prep, and making sure that everything has its own dedicated space. I'm absolutely guilty of taking up a lot of counter space. The trick is to group items in a way that makes sense, hiding cords when possible and matching items in style. It can go a long way to make sure that the kitchen doesn't feel overwhelming. Last, if you're installing an island or peninsula, which is another great way to make up for counter space, make sure to consider about 42 to 48 inches of clearance on the sides for walking. We've already talked a good bit about countertops, but a good kitchen countertop can sell a house. I'm not kidding. If you have an opportunity to do any one major upgrade in your home, definitely consider the countertops. One of the best all-around choices for a low-maintenance vacation home is quartz. It's non-porous, never needs sealing, it's stain and scratch resistant, and has a ton of color and pattern options, including marble lookalikes. If you'd prefer something heat-proof and don't mind spending a little extra, granite is a great choice too. For a showstopper, marble is timelessly stunning and butcher block is trendy and eye-catching. Both of those options unfortunately do stain though, so it's important to weigh your priorities before making that choice. If you're already upgrading a countertop, you might want to consider upgrading those cabinets too. In terms of functionality, consider adding pull-out organizers and adding corner solutions like Lazy Susans to make things more accessible. For aesthetics on a low budget, consider paint, especially if you can match the paint of your cabinets to an accent wall or color in a visible entryway or even legs of a kitchen table. You can also easily swap out hardware and add budget-friendly lighting under cabinets for an updated look. For a mid-budget, you can swap out the doors of your cabinets, but leave the frames for about half the cost of a full redo. And if you're doing a full cabinet replacement, adding those soft close doors makes a huge difference. And if you can do custom or semi-custom shelving and put cabinets that really pull the space together with features like a trash and recycling pullout or built-in spice drawers, that's great too. Balance matters in a kitchen just as much as in a bedroom. Visually, you want the space to feel even, not too heavy on one side, not too cluttered on another. And speaking of those cabinets and storage, open shelving can help lighten up a kitchen, but it definitely needs to be styled intentionally. I always recommend a mix of closed storage for the not so pretty or mismatched things, and then open space for a few special items. Maybe a favorite ceramic bowl, a couple of cookbooks, or a trailing plant. Just try to keep it as simple as possible. When it comes to color and texture, I like to think about the kitchen as an extension of the natural landscape. Especially here in Garrett County, we're surrounded by wood, water, and stone, so why not bring those elements inside? Soft whites, warm woods, matte black accents, and beautifully brushed metals all work really well. If you're choosing cabinetry, I love natural wood tones or painted neutrals like cream, sage, or charcoal. Avoid high gloss finishes or overly saturated colors. They tend to date quickly and can feel a little bit chaotic in a space that's already pretty visually busy. Lighting in the kitchen has to do a lot of work. You want overhead lighting for general tasks, pendant lights over the island or sink for warmth and style, and then under cabinet lighting to keep your counters functional. I always recommend using dimmers where possible so you can go from bright and task ready during meal prep to soft and inviting in the evenings. And if you're lucky enough to have natural light in your kitchen, let it shine. Keep windows clear or use linen shades to gently filter the light without blocking it. Having a lamp on your kitchen counter is a trend I love, and it's one that's easy to take out if you change your mind. It's so nice for slow mornings or late evenings without having to turn on those bright overhead lights. Kitchens can lean cold fast, so layering in natural textures is essential. That could be a butcher block cutting board that lives on the counter, a woven runner on the floor, ceramic canisters, or even a bowl of fresh produce. I love displaying things that are both beautiful and useful. It brings a sense of life to the room without adding clutter. Even just hanging a couple of wood or copper utensils can soften all the hard surfaces and stainless steel. And back to that cookbook holder, if you have the open counter space for it, especially in a well-lit corner, it can be such a sweet and lived-in touch for your favorite inspired recipes to live. Just like with bedrooms and bathrooms, I love bringing in seasonal touches in the kitchen. But again, we're not going overboard. A striped linen towel in the summer, a little jar of local honey in the spring, or a cinnamon-scented candle in the fall can all go a long way. You might want to swap out a couple of art prints or rotate a table runner. These little changes keep the space feeling fresh and grounded in the present moment. Let's talk about character. An accent doesn't have to mean a bold backsplash or bright cabinet color. It can be something as simple as switching your hardware to matte black or aged brass, or adding a breadboard to the island base for a subtle texture. Bar carts are another trend that don't have to be exclusive to alcohol. If you have an awkward space or corner of your kitchen that you just aren't sure what to do with, consider making your bar cart your coffee corner. Renters will definitely love that memorable touch too. These small details go a long way in adding charm and making the space feel warm. At the end of the day, your kitchen should be a reflection of the way you live. It doesn't have to be trendy or expensive, just thoughtful. Keep it functional, focus on natural light and materials, and create little moments of beauty wherever you can. I hope these tips help you design a kitchen that feels just as good to be in as it is to cook in. My name's Elizabeth Ware with Really Realty. If you thought this video was helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow along for more design tips and lifestyle, plus real estate here at Deep Creek Lake. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.